I'm 25 years old now, and if I could go back, there would be several things that I would tell my 18-year-old self. So in today's video, I wanted to go over those things and exactly what 5 things I would tell my younger self to set me up for a successful future. So let's get into it. So I took to pen and paper today to write down the things that I would want to go back and tell myself. I was thinking about it during lunch, and these are the 5 things that I really came down to that I would ultimately want to tell myself. So the first thing is the things of this world. So partying, drinking, hooking up with girls, chasing clout, all those things that the world promises are good and will bring you fulfillment. All of them do nothing but leave you feeling empty. And so I went to college, I did all the experiences, I did all the things, and there's one thing I would embark on my younger self that was 18 about to go to college. It's just that those things are good and all, and they're promised by the world to be what you need, but ultimately, at the end of all of them, you will do nothing but feel empty. They're fun in the moment, but what really changed my mindset on it is looking at it as something that is fun in the moment, but it's because you're borrowing enjoyment from the next day. So if I'm going out drinking and partying one night, it's because I'm borrowing the enjoyment from the next day to increase that night's. And ultimately, I can tell you from experience, they're not worth it. They're not worth the sacrifice. They're not worth it. I mean, that's just what it is. I've done all the things that you could do. I went to the SEC school, had the big party time, was in the fraternity, and I can promise you that they're not worth it. And so the second thing that goes kind of along with that one is don't care about the opinions of people you would never want to be like. So once you realize the first one, that the things of this world are not what people promise, they don't deliver, and they don't give you that fulfillment, you're going to start living a life that's different from the people around you because you're holding yourself to a higher standard. You're chasing after other things that they are not. And so one thing that I would encourage my younger self is not to care about the opinions of people I would never want to be like. So if I see these people over there partying and doing all these things, and I've already come to the realization that that doesn't bring me fulfillment, that that isn't what I need to be doing with my life, and they start judging me for living a different life because I'm eating healthy, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to church, I'm trying to learn about starting my own business. I can't care about their opinions because their opinions come from a place of judgment and a place that I would never want to be like. Because the life that you are now living is not how they would prefer you to live, because your goals and their goals are on completely different paths. And so therefore, you can't care about their opinions. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be rude to them or anything like that. I would never suggest that. But rather, you just have to take all of their opinions, all of their judgments with a grain of salt and continue to move on and continue to just focus on the path that you are on, because that's ultimately the path that you are going down and the path that you truly in your innermost desire. And the third thing, so this might be a little controversial in the online space, but the third thing is college education isn't a requirement to have a successful life. It's not a requirement to make money, but going to college in the right spot is a place where you can make 1, incredible connections, and 2, experience major self-development. So if you're going to the right college, then you can make huge connections. And one thing that my mother always told me is life isn't about what you know, it's about who you know. And at the age of 25, I can tell you that that is extremely true. I've had so many opportunities just from simply having connections to people. And I mean business, I mean housing, I mean experiences. So many different areas of life have been born out of the fact that I had certain connections. So that's the first thing. But then also the second thing is when I was in college, I went through major self-development that I don't think I would have gone through otherwise. Excuse me. And the reason I say this is because when I was in college, it really brought me out of my shell. I used to be a shy person. I used to not like to speak in public. I used to not be very social with people I didn't know. I was very in my shell. But college and just the overall experience that I went through there, being in a fraternity, being involved in different organizations, it really pushed me out of my shell and brought me to a place where I became comfortable with that. I became eager to meet new people. On top of that, it also helped me to understand what I wanted out of life, right? I went through that party phase. I went through all that and realized that it made me feel empty. And I started to pursue entrepreneurship. I started to pursue health. I started reading books. I started finding what I actually enjoyed out of life rather than what people told me I should enjoy. And I think college is such a great place for that, because it's kind of the first time that you're ever placed in an area on your own, while also still having some guardrails up in terms of what you need to do. And this is one reason that picking the right place to go to college is so important, because, like I said, those guardrails, they really keep you still on the same track, but also give you enough freedom to experience the life that you want and kind of figure yourself out and really develop your own inner character. And so the fourth thing that me as a 25-year-old would advise to my 18-year-old self is that most of what you see online is a lie. Most of what you see online is not real, it's false, it's people renting those supercars, it's people renting those really nice houses, claiming false numbers. And so just focus on your own race. Everybody has their own timeline, and you can't allow what you see online, which is everybody's highlight reel, to compress your timeline and make you feel behind. Everybody's running at their own pace. In fact, I think most millionaires don't actually reach millionaire status until around like 40 plus. So you can't allow what everyone else is doing to influence what you're doing and to bring you down and bring your confidence down. Rather, you should just focus on your own race. Focus on developing yourself. Focus on your own business. Don't worry about what other people are doing, because everybody's gonna move at a different pace, and God's timing in everybody's life is different. And so now that leads us to the fifth one, which I personally believe is the most important of all of them, and something that I have really learned over the last 2 years of my life. And that is to focus on living according to the gospel. And all else will be given to you, all else will work out. Because one thing I've learned is the way of this world, it is corrupt. The way of this world leads to badness, it leads to sadness, it leads to just an empty feeling within your soul. But when you begin to live for the Lord, and you begin to trust His plan with your life and begin to live according to the principles of the gospel, you'll begin to live a fruitful life. And so if there's one thing I've really learned, it's just that when you start living for something beyond yourself, you start to follow these biblical principles, that your life just becomes so much better. You begin to experience true fulfillment. You experience true friendship. You experience true joy. And I remember when I first started following the gospel and really becoming a follower of Christ, that's the first time I really knew what true joy was. I always thought that I was happy, but then once I got to know God and have a relationship with Him, that's when it just opened my eyes and took the scales off of my eyes, as it says in the Bible. If there was one thing I could encourage my younger self, it would be to live for the gospel truly and fully. And yes, I went through my times of partying. Yes, I did all the things that the world promises, and I learned from those. Of course, I took those and I learned from them. But if there was one thing I could encourage my younger self, it would be to skip all that and just focus on living according to the gospel, because with the knowledge I now have, I know that none of that was worth it. And I know that if I would have just really came to know God before that I would have never had to go through any of that and any of the burdens that come with that. And ultimately, if you want to live a fulfilling and successful life, the gospel will lead you to that. So those are the 5 main things that if I could go back, I would tell my younger self and encourage him to follow it. I haven't lived a perfect life, and I haven't lived a long life yet, but In my time on this earth, I've been able to gather knowledge and been able to learn from my mistakes and my successes. And ultimately, I feel like I'm on the right path now. And I feel like we're called to share those disciplines and share that knowledge and wisdom with our younger selves and with the younger generation. So to summarize it all, if you're 18 right now, the number one piece of advice I can give is to pursue God and pursue the plan that He has for you. Get to know Him and all else will fall into place. Don't get caught up with this world and the consumerism culture that we live in, but rather focus on your own path and focus on following what your own heart desires and what your own life is meant to be. The things of this world will lead you to emptiness, but the Lord never fails, and that is where you will find true fulfillment. To all my 18-year-olds out there, or anybody younger or even older that's watching this video, it's never too late to start your journey on the right path. And I hope that this advice, these learnings that I've gone through were able to be helpful for you and that you were able to learn something from this video. I've got more content like this, along with my normal tax-related content coming out soon, so be sure to like and subscribe for more coming soon. And as always, never stop the relentless pursuit of continuous improvement. And I look forward to us talking again soon.